Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you the best cult classic games that need a remake. Let's jump straight to number 10, Wet. In Wet, you play as Ruby Malone. She is a cross between a bounty hunter and a mercenary. At the start of the game, Ruby is hired to receive a case with a heart to save a man's life. However, Mr. Acker makes her an offer to bring back his son, Trevor, instead. From there, I don't know how, but she ends up wanting to get revenge on a man who double-crossed her. Really, I don't know, but the game feels a lot like films from Quentin Tarantino, such as Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill, so it does scratch that itch at least. The story doesn't have much going for it in terms of originality, but Ruby has a sword and twin pistols, and you get to use them generously as she seeks revenge, and of course, you'll get more weapons as you progress. When it comes to gameplay, there is a lot of platforming with shooting and slashing your way to beat the level. And the game also has a mode where Ruby will go on a killing spree and the level goes red and black, comic book style. All in all, it's loads of fun, but it does need a refresh in terms of visuals and graphics. 9. Bushido Blade. For certain members of the fighting game genre, Bushido Blade was the cool, edgy alternative pick. While the majority of people were sinking their teeth into entry after entry in the Street Fighter or Tekken franchises, those who got to enjoy Bushido on PS1 were probably all still trying to get to grips with its impressively high skill ceiling. Even now, more than 25 years from its initial release, it's still a title that feels like it has its own character. Bushido Blade has garnered a legendary reputation among the community for its realistic approach, as well as a number of original gameplay features, namely the one-hit finishes, lack of time limits, and a strategic body damage mechanic. And yet the gaming world has been criminally undeserved when it comes to the series. The spin-off, Kengo, Master of Bushido on the PS2, remains the last entry to date, though appetite for the original entry to receive a remastering hasn't evaporated in the years since. 8. Vanquish. An interesting and severely underrated game, Vanquish came out in 2010 to lackluster marketing. Some reviewers didn't get their copies before release, while the ones who did get it called it Gears of War with robots, which didn't help with the game's appeal at all. Another unfortunate coincidence that further caused Vanquish to undersell was the fact that it was released the same day as Fallout New Vegas. So overall, despite how beloved Vanquish was by players, it was undersold severely, which is why we've never seen a Vanquish 2, nor any rumors of a remake. But as a game, Vanquish is quite a lot of fun, even today. It's able to nail the sense of satisfaction and the adrenaline-rushing challenge that so many games fail to achieve. The game plays out with many staple mechanics of the third-person shooter genre, including various cover and weapon upgrade systems. The controls handle well and make you feel empowered as a player, and aside from the annoying use of a face button for grenades, the default control scheme is spot on. One of the better gameplay features of Vanquish is the technology of its universe and how this affects your playstyle. The game features a plethora of weapons ranging from the usual assault rifles and shotguns all the way to the more creative lock-on lasers and low-frequency emitters. The variety of your arsenal is a nice touch, and the ability to upgrade weapons through upgrade chips hidden in the levels gives a decent incentive to explore. 7. Beyond Good and Evil. Beyond Good and Evil is a game from a different era, one where Ubisoft used to innovate and show its creativity with different genres, not following an established formula. It's a game that many consider a cult masterpiece, so why didn't it receive the remake it deserves? Beyond Good and Evil is set in the far future, where you play as Jade, a young photojournalist who is whisked away into an adventure, working for various factions in a heated political climate. Jade is joined by the lovable and smart Paige, who will accompany you through most of the adventure. This title is a classic action-adventure, with photography thrown in between. Progressing through the game's story requires you to take pictures of the various monsters you're hacking and slashing through. There's also a decent amount of stealth involved, along with some fun traversal elements, including a cool hovercraft used for navigating its semi-open world. 6. Skullmonkeys. Skullmonkeys is a bizarrely beautiful 2D platformer with some of the genuinely incredible art direction and audio-visual design on the entire console, though this is stymied by a brutal difficulty and occasionally stagnant but still enjoyable platforming. If it looks familiar, it's because it's a sequel to The Neverhood, a point-and-click adventure game similar to Myst that focused more on player interaction to solve puzzles. Developers decided to take the franchise to a platforming style with their second title. Despite the incredible presentation, this is a fairly standard platformer. You control Clayman, traveling left to right, dispatching Skullmonkeys, leaping over tiny platforms, and unless you're very, very good at this game, falling into a lot of bottomless pits. As the game wears on, you'll gain access to a variety of consumable abilities, ranging from green laser bullets, a literal clone to test the waters ahead, and most hilariously, the universal enema that'll clear everything from the screen just like that. Despite the brutal difficulty Skullmonkeys boasts, everything in this platformer gives you the opposite impression. The Skullmonkeys are a foe that'll have you giggling every time you hear their baboon-like screams, and Clayman, our hero, leaps and bounces like something out of a Wallace and Gromit cartoon. And if you're enjoying this video, let me know by hitting that like button. 5. Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem. The first ever Nintendo game to receive a mature rating, Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem is a 2002 horror game for the GameCube. Undoubtedly, what has given Eternal Darkness its incredible legacy is the unique sanity mechanic. It's something seemingly every other piece of horror media skips over, but in the game, players' sanity is drained by the events they witness. Nintendo actually patented the feature for the game, with the effects of drained sanity ranging from strange noises, blood dripping from the walls, imaginary rooms spawning, and distorted images meant to resemble errors with a TV or GameCube breaking the fourth wall. Despite being lauded as one of the most innovative games ever made, the game only sold roughly 500,000 copies. Because of this, sequels and remakes for the game seem to be as cursed as the settings the game takes place in. 4. Jade Empire. One of BioWare's lesser-known RPGs is 2005's Jade Empire. The title stood out from the market as it was a role-playing game inspired by Chinese mythology, a departure from most medieval fantasy settings in the genre. But despite this, the game sold below expectations. It's a pity because Jade Empire is an overlooked gaming experience that deserves more love. The first BioWare title to have real-time combat, the player has a variety of fighting styles to choose from, such as the basic leaping tiger and the slow but powerful white demon. The protagonist, the Spirit Monk, can also perform magic-based attacks and recruit a colourful cast of party members. Much like Knights of the Old Republic and Mass Effect, Jade Empire also has a morality system, where the player has to choose between the open palm and the closed fist. But really, the big appeal of the game was allowing players to star in their own martial arts adventure and choosing whatever outcome they desired. 3. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Believe it or not, Conker's Bad Fur Day didn't start out as the crude classic we love today. Instead, it was conceived as a family adventure in a similar vein to Banjo-Kazooie and its sequel. However, given the popularity of Banjo at the time, developers decided to switch gears, and that's how the foul-mouthed Conker we know today was born. Changed from hopping on 4 legs through a cutesy forest environment, the character now stumbles around on 2 feet like a drunk Animal Crossing character, taking on situations that certainly wouldn't fly in a Walt Disney production. As far as memorable moments in games go, Conker is filled to the brim, with the hilarious writing frequently catching you off guard, even when you think you're ready for everything the game has to throw at you. And while the game is rightfully known as a masterclass in interactive comedy, it can back this up with some solid and surprisingly varied gameplay that works perfectly in tandem with the writing. Right from the beginning, where you try to undertake the tutorial level with a raging hangover, you know that this is a game that's willing to mix things up. 2. The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. The Incredible Hulk is an IP ripe for successful video games. With his brute strength and near indestructible physique, the character has the potential to have a great title due to the incredible feats he's capable of. And in 2005, The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction was proof of the hero's promise in the gaming industry, and showed players how fun the Green Goliath could play. Taking cues from the highly successful Spider-Man 2 game, developers Radical Entertainment put the title character in an open-world environment. A big standout from Ultimate Destruction was the character's moveset, which all came from the comics. The Hulk could use cars and lampposts as makeshift weapons, while at the same time perform variations of smashing attacks. And despite being a PS2-era title, players could commit all kinds of destruction, from wrecking vehicles to even leveling buildings down to the ground. 1. Simpsons Hit Run. Is there a more requested remake in the world of gaming than The Simpsons Hit Run? It was one of those games that everyone who grew up in the early noughties with a PS2 had owned, and the nostalgia it triggers with gamers has given it a serious legacy. The game has continued to be a popular streaming and speedrunning title, and fans have already drawn together various mods, modes, and remakes ranging from updated cutscenes to an interconnected world map. What made Hit and Run the perfect video game tie-in was how the developers learned their lessons from their previous installment, Road Rage, took the best open world and role-playing elements from titles like Grand Theft Auto 3, and worked with the actual Simpsons writers and cast to perfect a world that truly felt like one with the show. Unfortunately, it's that final point that's made a sequel or remake so hard to get off the ground. Disney owns the intellectual property for The Simpsons. Radical Entertainment, now a part of Activision, developed the initial game, whilst EA owns the rights to the Hit and Run IP. Sadly, these copyright issues have been what has held a remake back so far, and they look set to continue making a remastering unlikely, however much we all might want one. What other beloved cult classics would you like to see being remade? Let me know your favourites in the comments section below. And if you enjoy gaming content, be sure to check out the videos linked on screen.